Will the virtuous Sangha, out of compassion, for the sake of this assembly and all living beings, please turn the wonderful Dharma wheel to teach and guide us how to end birth and death, leave suffering and attain bliss, and quickly realize non-birth. Cung thính đại đức tặng thịnh, ý thứ pháp hội cấp nhập thiết chúng sanh. Hình chuyên diệu pháp luân giao đạo ngã mùng, như há liêu sanh thoát tư lý khổ đạc lạc, tất chứng vô sanh. Homage to the Blessed, Noble, and Perfectly Enlightened One. Nam mô Sananto Suchedo Ye La Hudi San Miao San Puto Xie. Nam mô Tạc Đạc Tha Tô Già Đạt Già La Ha Đế Tạp Miêu Tạp Bồ Đà Tòa. The unsurpassed, profound, subtle, and wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million aeons is difficult to encounter. Now that I'm able to see and hear, I will receive and maintain it. I vow to fathom and thus come one's true and actual principles. Wu shang sheng she wei miao fa bai jian wan jie nan zao yu. 我今见闻得受持，愿解如来真实义。O Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, Venerable Huineng, Venerable YongHua, Venerable Left Home people, and all good knowing advisors, Emitofuo. 诸佛菩萨、六祖师父、上人、各位出家人、各位善知識、阿彌陀佛。Kính thưa chư Phật Bồ Tát, kính thưa Lục Tổ, Hòa Thượng Kiên Hoa, Kỳ Thầy Cô và quý vị thiện tri thức A Di Đà Phật. Hello everyone, today is 3rd of October 2021. We are gathered here to continue discussing the last part of the 6th Patriarch Sutra. We are on chapter 10, his last words to his disciples before he left. We are on slide number 283. It's very near the end of it. So before we get started, I'd like to make some changes. I need your input on how we can make them to better serve you. That's why we're here. We're here to serve you who've been coming to us to learn the Dharma, and as well as at the same time leave something of the Dharma for the future generation as well. I'm thinking that since we are about to finish this chapter here, maybe a week or two, no more, something like that, I'm considering redoing it, at least the first part until the 21st century. The last century, I explained in the Chinese way. Since the 21st century, I started to go where no man has gone before. So the same peace to you too. So in the same kind of spirit, I'm thinking that we just like my late Chinese teacher, he would occasionally explain the same sutras twice. For example, the Song Enlightenment, he explained, I'm told, once in 1965, That's early when he just got to San Francisco. And again in 1985. So you see, the audiences were different. When he first came, it's probably a very small group of people. 1985, he had enlightened disciples already, so he felt compelled to explain it again for their sake. You see, that's why. They don't explain the same thing over and over again. He added more information. And it's the same thing. The last part, during the 21st century, wherever we started, I realized I started cranking it up a little bit, okay? And no one complained, so I went out of control. But I'm thinking that before that, I think we ought to revisit it and explain the sutra, the Sixth Patriarch Sutra, in a more consistent style. I mean, our modern times or Western flavored, Western-oriented audience, okay? In particular, my disciples have improved tremendously since the century started as well. So I'm very pleased with that. So it's very beneficial for all of us to revisit this particular Sutton teaching, Dharma door, which this sutra is one of the most important document that we need to elaborate for the future generation. Okay, my master, when he explained it, even whenever he explained it in the past, I feel that he held back, because just like the Avatamsaka Sutra, I'm holding back a lot because I know you can't take it, I can't take it either, okay? So if I really go all out, you will drop like flies. There's another one, okay? And particularly the Koreans can't take it, okay? So you see, so I'm thinking that in particular, we started with the Prologue, for example. That's one of the toughest texts you can find to explain on, okay? I don't understand most of it, okay? But for me to explain what I understand, you will drop out. I will have an empty hall, basically, okay? So I'm thinking that after this, we be done, we reshuffle. Okay, we will explain the Sixth Patriarch Sutra again until when we started the 21st century, around that time. That's when I knew, consciously, I knew that I really stepped it up, okay? For some reason, I couldn't understand why, okay? But I decided to do that. And so that's because we want to understand this sutra from our perspective, from Westerner perspective, and from, I feel, don't advertise this. I feel you far better than his disciples. Okay? Yeah. On average, from low to high, I mean, you far better. So, I used to honor him by staying within the bounds of his Dharma. But I feel that this Chan Dharma here, that his explanation doesn't emphasize, does not have enough emphasis on the Sutton teaching, the way he explained it. So it's a shame. This is such an important sutra for us. So I'd like to thank you very much. I have two of them. Which one I'm going to drink? It's okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much. So you see, I think we should explain it again. You have a problem with that? I think the Koreans would love it. The Koreans are crazy about Son. I don't know why, but yeah. You agree or not? You want me to explain it again? No? Mary Jo is unhappy about this. I want to move on to better and bigger horizons. Okay, so she's the only one who objected. Okay, all right. That's what we call all-inclusive. We include everyone, including the objectors. You know, okay, the way I explain it, how can she say, no, I don't want to hear it? It's a test to see whether she would stand firm on her beliefs, you know? Anyway, yes, Q&A. Okay, no Q&A. No? No, okay, no Q&A. It's a mistake. Electric shock. Okay, yeah, only for Tuan. There you go. Okay, so we agree that we want to explain the Sixth Sutra again, Sixth Patriarch Sutra again, up till the 21st century, okay? We do that, okay? And then we will also go into the first chapter of the Flower Adornment Sutra because that's, you know, the starting point. So we need to set the tone. And, you know, it's kind of lightweight, so it's a good thing. In a way, it's a good thing, you know, not too heavily. The text itself, I feel, is not as difficult as the prologue. The text is a lot more enjoyable, if you will. It's fascinating to hear about, you know, like you read a sci-fi novel. You know, these people fly, you know, and do strange things, you know. So it's so cool. So I feel we should go in the first chapter after this. Okay. Now, and the prologue as well. We need to do the prologue for our future investments, if you will. You will, like Sixth Patriarch and first chapters and the other chapters are like present consumption. Okay? But the prologue is for your ultimately becoming the Buddha yourself. Okay? It is worth it to me just to go through that. Okay? And even though you don't understand most of it, it's still well worth it. Okay? I highly recommend it. Okay? So we do that. Okay? And then after that, every now and then, you know, between the Flower Adornment Sutras chapters, I might throw in things like a change of pace, like some other sutras, such as Vimalakirti Sutra. So, for example, I plan to do after chapter 1, Vimalakirti Sutra. It's kind of sutra that you can talk about and you can cite and you can explain to anyone, okay? Even your children, your wives, you know, or husband, for that matter, okay? So that's the plan, general plan, okay? We need to decide next when, okay? Where, okay? Meaning that I'm thinking that after we're done here, Sundays, we switch back to Saturdays so that Saturday is soon. Okay, it's Chan. So you have a Chan day. Okay? And then Sundays, for us in the US, is Pure Land. Okay? So we recite Buddha's name in the morning and afternoon, we do wisdom. You know, we plant seeds of your ultimate Buddha wisdom by explaining the Flower Adornment Sutra chapters. Sounds good? And we read, you go through it, and we write, and we recite the sutra, and we discuss it among ourselves. Oh, I like this part, you know, where he flies, and you know, and he sees who God really is. And this is when we discourage our Daniel from coming in those sessions. Okay? Because the last thing we want is for him to be converted. Okay, so far so good? Okay, so we switched, okay? Now, that leaves us a prologue. How are we going to do a prologue now? And I feel we need to do more Flower Dormant Sutras because they're cool, maybe have 2 nights of, or 2 Flower Dormant Sutras going, chapters going, because there's a lot of it, good information. And I promise you this, the last 15 years, 16 years, I've been holding back. I refuse to go into what I call basic stuff. Yuck. Okay? But now with the Flower Dormant Sutra, which teaches us about everything, yesterday I brought up for you that the fact is that in the Flower Dormant Sutra, it talked about certain teaching as well as gradual teaching. It's right there. It has everything. Then we want to know, we need to know. So that's why it would be fantastic if we do true sutra lectures in the long haul on the Flower Dormant Sutra. Okay? Okay, so we will cover much more important grounds, and I promise you, not only is it going to be fun, I'm going to add things that my late Chinese teacher did not add, did not have for his disciples. Why? Because you guys, I repeat, are far better than his disciples. Far better. Okay? So you need to be prepared for even more wonderful advancements. Sounds good? Yeah? Okay, so we talked about Saturday. After this, we switch over. Saturday, we start over the 6th Patriarch Sutra. Okay? And by the way, it's not about understanding when you go into the prologue. It's about listening. And if every now and then you understand some concepts, because I decided to explain them to you, it's a good thing. But most of the time, just listen. Okay, that's what I did when I first started. I just read and read and read. Okay, and never could understand anything. But it's okay. It's future investments. Okay, remember, some of you, it's not about understanding. It's about listening, hearing. Okay, and let go. If you understand, fine. You don't understand, it's okay too, because it's registered here. Now you will be there forever. Okay, you will not find this kind of opportunities that often. Okay, the seeds from the great master Jing Liang's teaching is just incredible, of the highest quality possible. Okay, so now when do we do the prologue? Where do we swap the prologue to? You see, you notice I moved the prologue away from the weekend because here in the U.S. because we're losing listeners. Yeah, we lost 1 or 2 already. Yeah, Andrea's fault.
So does this mean you're not going to explain the Avatamsaka Sutras on the prologue on Sundays anymore?
Sundays we start chapter 1.
Oh, next Sunday we're starting.
Yeah, so the text is more enjoyable, frankly. The prologue is very challenging for all of us. And if you can talk me out of, explaining that as well. And our people have been working hard to just translate the prologue into English. It's very, very difficult. Okay? And we need to do that because I feel our translation will be better than my master's disciples' translation. That's why we need to translate it. Just the same. When I go over the 6th Patriarch Sutra again, I will probably change a lot of the translation to English. Okay? Yes. Number 8. You know, 8 is a very lucky number in China? Okay,
yes.
very good.
Well, I was thinking, Master, we could do 2 hours of the chapter 1 on Sunday,
Yes.
and then an hour after that of the prologue.
So you spend the entire Sunday afternoon here
Yeah.
in the temple? How horrible. Get alive, girl. That's too much. Huh? Don't you have anything to do on Sunday afternoon? I can think of better things to do.
No life. No life.
No, she don't. Oh, God. Jimmy. Okay, anyone else? And also, by the way, on the chant classes, okay, we will discuss the song enlightenment, okay, so that we learn from a Chinese wisdom, okay, interpret into our Western wisdom, okay, and maybe enhance the song enlightenment a little bit. Can we do that? Okay, so that instead of me, speaking nonsense, of course, we still leave you time for you to ask any questions anytime, okay? And when there's no questions, we discuss the song enlightenment. Sounds good? So the chant classes, okay, we discuss the song enlightenment. And we find texts of real good texts in chant or something to discuss them, okay? Let's learn from the wonderful Chinese wisdom. The Chinese chant wisdom is incredible, okay? And along the way, we correct all those English translation. I am not happy with translation, okay? English translation, okay? Horrible. Pretty good, but, you know, it's fall short of our standards, okay? So we gonna do the song enlightenment if there's no questions, unless you want me to finish early in a chant class. Okay. Okay. So the Koreans, as being quiet and accommodating like they are, you can decide for them. Okay. We don't have to ask for their input, do we? Yeah? Okay, see, they all look down and say, oh, yeah, don't ask me, please. I follow. We follow. Yes? Okay. So one suggestion is prologue after this time slot. So we can do it for 4 hours on Sunday afternoon. Oh, God, you're gonna be so tired. Or you can do it on Friday night. I will move Master Xianjie's class to somewhere else, outer space. They don't do it anyways, right? They go to parties and say, yeah, let's cancel it. Okay, so Master Xianjie has no objections to us replacing his class with ours. Okay, so for example, I'm usually done, my people cut me off at 7:30, and then we start the class maybe at 8 o'clock. And then if Master Xianjie wishes to continue, you can do online or something, or move it to another night. Okay. The objective of Friday night class is for our neighbors up north not to complain that we don't do anything for them. But if they don't show up, we don't have to. Okay? It's political. I'm Republican too. I mean, okay? Some days I'm Republican. Some nights I'm Democrats. Yes, Ahong. Q&A.
Master, what are we going to do for Chanchi nights? Maybe we can use that time also for one of those sutras.
Absolutely. Chanchi night is the same thing. Chanchi night, we stop the day events and we move the classes to the time slot, like 8 o'clock at night. So, for example, as it stands right now, since Master Xiantie is jumping up and down with joy, stress relief, he says, stress relief. Friday night, we do Prologue, okay? Saturday night, we do 6 Patriarch Sutra. Sunday night, we do the first chapter of the Flower Adornment Sutra. So we're going for wisdom nowadays. Sounds good? All right? What do you think? Okay, now, just to be safe, ask the Koreans. Oh, dear Koreans, 안녕하세요. What do you think? What do you think, huh? You okay with that? And that's the first change. We plan to do that, okay? And also further changes are this year, we're going to have 10 weeks of Chan Chi, 11 weeks of Chi total here at Wei Mountain Temple. All right? But in future years, we will change it. Okay? In future years, I expect, for example, next year to be able to resume almost normal activities. So next year I fly to Korea and to propagate the Dharma there. Maybe around springtime, okay? Because I'm told that winter is too cold for me and summer is too hot for me. Okay, so that's the plan. So we plan to do that. But after next year, in 2023, we eventually split. Okay, so that we have multiple locations. So we probably do a Chan Chi here and Fo Chi here for about, let's say, 4 or 5 weeks, move up to Northern California and do 4 or 5 weeks, okay, and so forth. And in Korea will be 4 or 5 weeks, something like that. Okay, so that's the plan. How is that? Because, you know, if we do only here in Wei Mountain Temple, which is we have all the facilities here, we can handle it. But then people would have a hard time traveling. For example, people who are in Asia cannot fly here. It's hard for them to get here, to come here. Okay, and then same thing. The Dharma here is we establish ourselves in Southern California. Very tough place to teach the Dharma, by the way. Look at yourself. The proof is that look at yourself, because you are the most scary assembly for most of us lecturers. Okay, so it's not surprising that the other Dharma masters would not dare come here. When I invited people to come to our assemblies, I basically prepared you, didn't I? I said, do not ask any hard questions. Remember that? Okay, don't you dare. Okay, be nice. You don't ask questions they can't answer. Yes, one. Yeah, once, and just be patient. They're arguing among themselves.
Master, does it mean that you're going to dwell at this place for five weeks during the Chan Chi, or you're going to stay here at the Wei Mountain Temple?
No, I commute every day. I fly. We do fundraising for a helicopter. Okay? I talk big, you know that. I just talk big. Okay? But we see how it works out. Okay? Let me tell you, my planning horizon is that I need to pace myself for the next 20 years so that I can do what I'm supposed to do. Okay? That's it. After 20 years, I don't care what you tell me. I'm going to retire or die or something. Okay? Enough is enough. Okay? Preferably I move to the Bahamas and drive any car I want. Okay? Anyone else? Okay? Could be Korea, but I heard Korea weather is horrible. Okay. Anyway, okay. My favorite is go to the south of France and retire, buy a small vineyard. I turn to winemaking. Okay. So, any other questions? So sounds good? Okay. Oh. You see, the Koreans. Zero input. This is not okay. No, it's zero input. I look at Master Xixianjie, he's glowing. Ah, relief. Okay, so we just go leisurely along, in our, at our own pace, and then eventually we switch once this is done. We agree? Okay, very good. Okay, where are we? 283. Why are we still on commentary? All of you be well, okay? After my extinction, do not indulge in worldly emotions. Okay. Clearly, he's very worried about his other disciples. They've been with him for a long time. They've been learning from him, and yet they still have not opened the wisdom yet. That's why he says, do not indulge in worldly emotions. When you mention worldly emotions, it's about people who have no wisdom. Meaning, below fourth stage arhat. Is that clear? Okay. Maybe third stage. You begin to have begin not to be confused by a lot of emotions already. But so he says, I'm worried about you. I'm worried that you're very emotional. You Chinese people are very emotional. Okay. So beware of those worldly emotions. What are the worldly emotions? What? Love. Yes? What else? Anger.
Yesterday, I asked you about feeling. Is that every feeling an emotion? Emotion is feeling?
Yeah, I suppose. Oh, no. Okay. You can start the lecture now. 6, yes.
So every feeling you have, wouldn't that be considered an emotion? Is there such thing, since he says worldly emotions, there's such thing as like heavenly emotions or Buddha emotions?
Hey, let's talk about it. What about love for your teacher? Later you see these people very emotional towards their teacher. Or Master Hsuan disciples used to be very emotional, very attached to him. Okay? Is that worldly or not? Can we talk about this? Because in 20 years, do not have any worldly emotions. Is it worldly emotions? Attachment to your teacher? Attachment to God? I mean, Q&A.
Yes, Master.
Yes,
Yes,
it is
it's
worldly?
Yes.
It is worldly. Okay. Anyone else? Yes. Andreas.
I'm not sure because, like, if you were to love and respect your teacher and love and respect the Buddhas, that would be similar to praising the Buddhas and, universal worthy's conduct of always thinking very highly of the Buddhas, which is a emotion or a feeling, I think. So I would say that there's possibly like a higher emotion that's not worldly, that's, I guess you could say, otherworldly, or on the like a bodhi emotion or something like that.
So you're saying, sir, that universal worthy bodhisattva advocates that you engage in worldly emotions?
No.
I'm just verifying, that's all. What kind of car do you drive again?
In the universal worthy vows, he says always, I vow to praise the Buddhas, and I think the other one is to always have the Buddhas in mind and always think of them.
Is that worldly?
Well, it conjures up a feeling of respect and utmost respect and
respect
high
is worldly?
praise. Well,
Praise the Buddha is worldly?
it's that's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's possible that it's not worldly, that in emotion that it gets invoked in you of, you think of the Buddha and the Buddha's good deeds, and you have an overwhelming feeling of compassion and things like that. That could be
Compassion is worldly?
I'm saying it could be considered otherworldly. It could be considered a different sort of emotion than a worldly emotion.
I'm losing my temper here. Shame on you. I will not lower myself to your level. JMT.
Master, I think that's not a worry emotion, because I think in the past when the Buddha entered Nirvana, the Mahakassapa wasn't there. He came late, but he very emotional then, and so the Buddha had to extend his feet so the Mahakassapa can touch his feet at that time. So I don't think that's worry emotion.
Repeat that. What did Buddha do? You pay attention. Andreas' fault.
He lengthened his leg so Venerable Mahakassapa can touch his feet.
And that's emotional?
I don't think that's worldly emotion.
So Mahakassapa asked to touch a Buddha's foot? Is it Indian
yes, I
thing?
heard.
And the Buddha say, okay, you can touch my foot?
Yes, Master.
I see. Okay. So Master Z feels it's not worldly at all. To adore and want to touch a Buddha's foot. See, this guy enjoys it too much. See, Buddhists, he says, you Buddhists are faking it. Go ahead, JMT.
That's all.
That's all. Okay. Q&A.
No, I don't think that's worldly.
What
I
is not
think-
worldly? His kissing the foot?
No, you can have emotions. What you can adore your teachers and Buddhas, and that's not worldly. And also, I think last week we talked about similar idea. Master explained that when you are not a worldly person, when you are sage, you can have your emotions are not worldly either. And if you are a worldly person, everything you do is worldly.
Excellent. Very good, my girl. Okay? Do you understand? Did you get it? Okay. What is worldly emotion? According to Andreas, it's about liking the Buddha and worshiping the Buddha as a worldly emotion. Okay? We can ignore that. Yeah. Yes, 8. What is worldly emotion? What is, yes?
Worldly emotion is emotion of attachment.
Okay. What kind of attachments?
It would be one of passionate emotion or hatred emotion.
Very good. The kind of attachment, the kind of emotions that create attachments that will make you evolve in a will reincarnation. That's why it's called worldly. Folks, pay attention. Worldly means that you are stuck in the world. Whatever you do, okay? Whether it's worldly emotions, worldly pursuits, okay? Worldly aspirations, worldly vows, okay? Worldly endeavors, those are worldly because they keep you here in the world. They are not helping you in the big picture. It keeps you, they keep you stuck here endlessly, like you always been stuck here all this time. That's why it's called worldly. Yes, Daniel.
Okay, I do agree with that. However, how would you describe, like, for example, is worldly emotions or worldly feelings or worldly love, is it considered to be, for Buddhists, would that could be considered as bad? Or because if it's considered bad, then how people gonna have children in order to, because for a husband and wife to love each other, it has to first be by.
Not all children are good children.
Agreed, but
Look
how
at yourself.
No comment.
Okay?
But that's my question is it outwardly emotions are bad or though come from evil or good?
Worldly is just what it means. It keeps you in this world. That's all it is. Okay? Whatever you do is called worldly is because it keeps you here. It keeps on coming back here. Keeps you in this will reincarnation. You cannot get out. You haven't been able to get out. And this is a very important concept, worldly, from the Buddhist perspective, because it's a reminder. You've been stuck in this world here, in this will reincarnation, all this time. That's why you're still here. That's why you're here today. And after you're done with this body, you will lose this body, and most likely you fall. Okay? So it's repeats itself. It will keep you here on and on and on and on. All right? So he says, after I'm dead, do not indulge in worldly emotions. If you have emotions, let's say you love the Buddha, you love Mother Mary, you love the Bodhisattvas. Okay? Love is a worldly emotion. However, there are exceptions. If that worldly love that you have, you as a person, love Mother Mary. You as a person love the Buddha. You as a person worship the Buddha, okay, and the Bodhisattvas. Yes, it's worldly, but that kind of emotion, okay, that kind of emotional love, emotional attachment actually will help you get out of this wheel reincarnation. Then it's an exception. It's no longer worldly. Because remember the definition, if you are not enlightened, everything you do is worldly. However, in those worldly things that you do, some of the worldly things you do will promote your escape from this world reincarnation. Therefore, those are good worldly pursuits. So the Hinayana, for example, they advocate that you do good things. You give, you become virtuous so that you can ascend to the heavens. Okay? It's a good place to go to the heavens. That's what they do. They encourage you to do that. Okay? Because he says, you should be afraid to fall into the ghost realm. You should be afraid to fall down to the hells. Okay? You should be afraid to go to the animal realms. That's correct. Okay? Instead, you should shoot for the heavens. You should shoot for getting a human body again. But that's not the ultimate teaching. It's only a temporary thing to reduce your suffering. Okay? But it's still worldly in that sense. Because it does not help you get out of the wheel. Okay? So the sixth patriarch, even as a great teacher, point number 2, even as a great teacher, the great trainer like Master Huineng, his disciples still are not enlightened, were not enlightened. So he's worried. Okay? With a great teacher like Master Huineng, many of his disciples were not enlightened. You see? It's how difficult it is. So he said, I'm worried about you. Remember, it's worldly emotions that you need to be aware of. We are emotional creatures. Okay? It's okay to have emotions, but be wary of worldly emotions. Is that clear? All right? Any other questions or comments? Next, 284. If you weep in sorrow, receive condolences, or wear mourning clothes, you are not my disciples, for that is contrary to the proper Dharma.
悲泣与泪，受人调问，身着孝服，非无弟子，亦非正法。
Okay, she sounds like she's from a tomb or something, don't you think? I'm sorry, I react to worldly things. I have no emotion, I just react to the worldly things. Okay? And more specifically, he says, Master Huineng said, if you weep in sorrow, meaning if you are sorrowful, to the point where you shed tears over my departure, over my death, okay? You receive condolences. You we stand there and receive condolences from the outsiders. Okay, they have their own world. The sixth patriarch temple, the Nanhua Si, the Nanhua temple. They have their own world. They're huge. They have a lot of land. Okay, they're at least 1,000 times our size. Okay, and they have a lot of people. So those have their own exclusive world. But if you receive condolences from others who come or wear mourning clothes, you are not my disciples. My disciples don't do that, for that is contrary to the proper Dharma. Okay? Why? Why is not the proper Dharma? This is very important, folks. This is what differentiates worldly people from Chan people like us. Yes, Riddler.
Thank you, Master. Referring back to the last commentary explanation, this is the behavior of indulging in emotions.
Indulging emotions. Yes. Anyone else? Why isn't the proper Dharma? Anyone else? Oh, sorry. Number 5.
Sorry.
You have to cooperate with him. When I call him, you have no choice, okay? I don't care how you feel about it personally.
Is it because they're attached to their master?
Attached to the master.
If they're attached to the master, then they have those kinds of feelings will be considered worldly feelings?
It's okay for you to attach to your God, yes?
To my what?
To your God.
I don't get an attachment because we belong to God, so it's not really attachment.
So when you belong to God, he says there's no attachment there. Right. 8.
Is that because it's not according with conditions?
Not according to conditions. Okay. Anyone else? Why is not the proper Dharma? Anyone? Master Xianjie, you must be clear by now. Since you have no more responsibilities, why? Why is not the proper Dharma?
Well, I guess those things just demonstrate your worldly emotions.
Let's make him teach again. Q&A.
Yeah, I think it demonstrates all the marks of worldly people, how they handle death. And I think just a very common sense, like if other people see this is how Sangha handles death, then there's no difference between Sangha and Buddhist and an enlightened person with normal person. It's not inspiring others.
This is when you have to give credit where credit is due. The Chinese got it. We're not Chinese, that's why we don't get it. That's what Chinese do. They cry. And they receive condolence. Oh, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, we appreciate your coming. And wear mourning clothes, That's what Chinese people do. Okay? It's too Chinese, in other words. Okay? That's what worldly Chinese people do. You're no longer worldly people. You're here to cultivate, to transcend this world, to stop doing worldly things. Because when you do those worldly things, it's contrary to the proper Dharma. It does not plant the seeds for you to transcend this world. Yes, 8.
Master, I see a lot of tremendously elaborate, long funeral rows here in this part of town where there's a lot of Asian families. And it seems to me that's it's a demonstration of philology, of seeing an elaborate hosting of one's departing as a funeral. And is that why a lot of Chinese families show that?
It's a cultural thing.
Yes.
Brady, it's a cultural thing. Because for the Asians, you need to have a very elaborate funeral service in order to honor the departed, to show appreciation for the departed. Okay? That's our tradition, Asian tradition, that is. Okay? It's our culture. Whereas in Western culture, you have a lot of variation. But in Asia, if you really love your parents, and when after they die and you don't have elaborate funeral services, you're not filial. So the more elaborate the funeral service, the more filial you are. That's the worldly tradition. Okay? But he also adds something here that's more than just worldly. He says proper Dharma. Okay? Now, proper Dharma, please correct proper with a capital P. Okay? It's not a proper Dharma. What is he talking about? See, this is what's so subtle about the six patriarchs' teaching. He brings it back to the Dharma. He's not saying that you worldly thing or unworldly thing. He says about all the things you're doing here, whatever you call it, okay? It's not proper. It's not what we do. Proper Dharma it's not what we do. What is that? What is he referring to? Very subtle here. Yes, number 3.
Thank you, Master. Everything he's talking about is you're afflicting yourself by weeping in sorrow. You're afflicting yourself receiving condolences. The proper Dharma is not to afflict yourself.
So do you afflict yourself?
Constantly.
Okay. Anyone else? Very good. Anyone else? Yes, 8.
I have a question. Does this only apply to the sixth patriarch, or should this be applied to anyone?
Everyone.
So
he doesn't teach it for them people alone. He says, you are the bearers of our standard of excellence. Okay? So you should set the example yourself. Do not do these worldly things. Do not have elaborate funeral services for me. Do not advertise to that. Why do monks, nuns do this? Because their disciples get a lot of donations. I'm sure Master Hsuan funeral services, they get a lot of donations. Huge donations. Okay?
Because this is...
well, you only die once.
Yeah, so this is one of the things I actually was thinking about writing into my will, is say no funeral service for myself. And when I told...
But you have no children. It's not going to be a problem.
Just in
Get
case.
married first.
Yeah, just in case. They said I don't want to, and a couple of my other family members were the same thing about that. But depending on who you talk to, some people are saying, "Well, what do you mean you don't want a funeral? You have to have one." I said, "Well, no, I don't." So I guess that's the basis of my question. Should that apply to all of us? Say that.
Sure,
hey,
sure, absolutely. We come to that. We come to that. Very
okay.
good. Anyone else? Yes, Andres.
Sixth patriarch always taught non-duality. So if you're attached to him in his life, then you're seeing the duality between life and death.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else? No one? Okay. What he's referring to includes everything you just said. There's one more thing that's rather subtle that he also, I think, I'm really going out on a limb here, that he's teaching his disciples that's not clear for us Westerners, okay? But especially especially the Chinese, the Asians, who are more familiar with this concept, is the death. Okay, in our Asian cultures, we worry about death. We ponder about death. The Westerners, we ponder about life. They say, life is overwhelming enough. I don't need to worry about death. What's the point of worrying about death since I know nothing about it and I have enough of a hard time with living? Okay? So let me live first and worry about death later. Okay? In the Asian culture, we have the concept of death. Okay? In particular, a good death. Those types of concepts. Yes or no? Because it's a very Asian thing. Okay? See, Westerners, what are you talking about? And that death there, okay, for us Buddhists, those of you who have wisdom, okay, should understand that in the eyes of the proper Dharma, okay, death is just a transition. It's not meant to be to be a big deal. Death is a transitory period where you basically change bodies. That's a proper Dharma. Okay? Death is not the end. Death is not something that you should get emotional about or make money out of. Okay? Because, for example, if you attach to your parents when they pass away, okay, you simply are encouraging your parents to come back to the world to be near you again. That's not the proper Dharma. That's worldly Dharma. Yes? Go ahead, 3.
So, Master, the other day when we were talking about the rebirth plaque, and my friend's family was praying for her dad to pass away more quickly because he's just suffering. So if the body that we have right now is just temporary and it's wearing out, then it's time to get a new body, so there's nothing wrong about wishing for somebody to leave earlier so they don't have to suffer so much.
You really are a killer after all, aren't you?
So is it a
I
proper...
like that. Not that I disapprove. I think I like it. You're so brutal. So are you saying, ma'am, see this? Are you saying, ma'am, you're advocating that if they're not in good health anymore, just kill them off?
For myself, I would like to do that.
We're not going to touch that. Not even with a 10-foot pole.
Because if the body is just a transient state...
Alone, run, boy, run. Because if you're not feeling well, she will strangle you. I'm warning you, boy. You have really are ruthless, aren't you? I mean, like your own daughter, if she's like, I lost 2 limbs and I really am not gonna have a good life anymore. And you say, okay, let me put a pillow on your face.
Well, in the case of my friend's dad, all his organs are failing. His kidneys is the last part that's was okay and is failing too. So he's just on life support.
Excuse me? Use your number 4. You can object to her. I'm glad someone is disagreeing with her besides me. Yes, number 4.
So take him off life support. Let him die naturally. Don't have to push him along.
Don't have to use my Dharma to kill him off. I mean,
how dare you use Master's Dharma? How dare you?
Someone likes me. Number 3, did you have a retort for that? Huh? You use my Dharma to kill people. We put her on a restricted list.
Well,
to be metered out, plaques only, rebirth plaques. What is your quota for the year? 1 Kevorkian application per decade. Yeah? You see the problem? You see? You have to see the problem I have? If I didn't sit up here and complain, oh, you're using me to kill people, I'm me, poor victim. Guess what's going to happen to me? You see? There are things you don't want to talk about. It's logical, but it still lacks compassion. Yes, 3.
So it's lack of compassion to have the person suffer?
No, lack compassion to the others, not to us. See the problem? These people have a misguided concept of compassion. There's nothing we can do. You don't want to make it worse for them. Does it make sense? They can go so far with this concept of compassion. That's why you need to know how far you can push. You don't want, you would not find me sitting up here and say, oh, it's okay to kill them off. Never, because I'm Republican today. Okay? Don't do that. Yes, we understand that it helps and pain, relieve suffering, but public opinion would condemn such approaches. And you don't want to touch it. Okay? Be careful. That's all. It's not about right and wrong. It's about you don't want to go against the current. Accord with conditions, if you will. Yes, go ahead. 5.
Well, I have a quick question, though.
You have a good question?
I have a quick question. I understand the Catholic position about that.
A quick question, but he speaks very, very slow.
But
You're a man of so many conflicts. Outside is Catholic, inside is Buddhist.
No, so for me, it's better, like, for example, if I was in that situation, I would prefer for them to keep me alive as much as possible, for me to repent of my own sins and probably receive the whatever necessary for me to go to heaven. So I prefer the elongate my life in order for me to repent for my own sins as much as I can.
Yeah, good for you. So make sure you go to the proper heaven. Don't overshoot. You're going to overshoot. I tell you that right now. And you end up in heaven that you're not going to like. It's, oh, this is not my God's heaven. So now God has a kowtow to me. God now, when God sees me, oh, Master Daniel, here's my offering to you. I'm warning you. Anyone else? Yes, 3, did you have a final comment? No? You're not going to touch it? See, wise decision. Yes, 8.
Master, anybody that's familiar with hospice care, elderly people passing on, progressively getting more and more ill, you'll find that the thought of care now has changed somewhat, and they embrace what is the best for the patient's rights.
Yes.
And what they typically do, unless there's a health care directive to say the contrary, they just comfort a person that's passing.
Yes.
And they don't necessarily outright end their life. They just make it as comfortable as they can
Yes.
with pain medications. And a lot of times people don't want to drink and eat their last few days, so they just pass on without some valiant drive to maintain the suffering.
Yes. So we all agree it's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes? We all agree the hospices and those practices are good. Yes? Okay, you see? That's my very point. Everyone understands it. Everyone can associate, can connect with that mind of compassion. When we give them relief for the pain and suffering before they go, it's a mind of compassion. It's a good thing to do. Okay? It's not necessarily productive or wise, okay? But the primary purpose is that you nurture that heart of compassion. Yes, number 9.
Master, this is from Haiti. Master, if I decide that if I don't want life support, so it is okay for my children to do it?
Yes, it's perfectly okay because it's your wish. Okay? You make your own choices. Yes, Daniel.
Where I work at, I had clients that wanted to pass away on their units, on their apartments, with some help from home health, that we call it home health. So sometimes I have been able to arrange home health for my clients or whatever, so they can pass away in their rooms instead of the hospital or hospice care. So I have seen a lot of clients pass away that way too.
Yeah, that's okay. Yes, number 4.
In my previous job, I was in a position where I had to decide so many things for elderly people, and sometimes it was financial or it was general medical, and then as they got older, I had to decide what happens next. So we would look in their will and in their trust to see if they had an advanced healthcare directive and what did they want to be done. And a lot of times what happens is that first they say, I want you to do everything you can to help me survive. And so then they get a little taste of what that's about.
And they change the wheels.
And the paramedics come and then they almost break their ribs to be sure that then they have CPR. And then they realize, wow, this is a little more than I thought. And I think it's a little harder than I thought. And then they changed their own trust or their healthcare directive to reflect, no, I'm okay. I'll go. I'm willing to go when it's time for me to go. And then a person in my position would assist them to have the kind of palliative or hospice care so that way they could go the way they want to go.
What a messy job to do.
Messy.
Now
It
you
was
have
a
to
messy
deal with
job.
the children and the wives and the relatives who says, that's not what he told me.
Exactly. And then they're
I
the
don't want him
ones.
to die. What are you going to do?
Well, no, actually, then they're pushing. They don't want to spend the money for the extra comfort care for the elderly person because they want to keep the money for themselves.
I wouldn't want to go into that profession.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Needless to say, I got out of the field.
Yeah, it's a no-win situation. It's too messy. Okay? I'd rather become a monk. Okay, anyone? Okay, so the concept here, folks, I'm sharing with you today is for the wise Buddhists, like Master Huineng. He says, death is no big deal, boys and girls. Don't make a big deal out of it. Don't try to make money out of it. Don't indulge in emotional, worldly emotions. It's not necessary. Okay? If you really have any wisdom and you don't, remember, death is but a moment in time. That's all. We continue to travel. We go on. That's all. It's not a big deal. Okay? That's a proper Dharma. Are we okay? Okay. Yes, well, this death thing here is really touching a nerve, a lot of nerves. Yes, 8.
I was just curious, what was done for Master Shenhua when he passed?
Oh, they did a humongous thing because everyone is very emotional. Okay? And Master Shenhua specifically said, I want no monument erected for me. Okay? And true to his words, nothing was erected under his name. But it's a big deal. You know, like one of the monks flew into an air balloon and then spread the ash in the air around the city, 10,000 Buddhas. Since they cannot build a monument, they spread the ash around the city of 10,000 Buddhas, which to me is a rather emotional thing. It's like, Master, come back to the city of 10,000 Buddhas. We miss you. Don't go. Please come back. The sooner the better. We miss you. That's worldly emotions. That's not the proper Dharma. Yes, 3. But you see, that's a poor decision on their part. If I read this, and I'm not sure Master Shenhua gave them the instructions. I wasn't there, so in all fairness, okay. But if these were the Master Huineng's last words here were the instruction of Master Shenhua, you know, you should not make a big deal out of it. Okay? Because you need to teach people, use the opportunity to teach people that death is but a passing moment in your journey towards Buddhahood. That's a big picture. That's a proper Dharma. Okay? Don't say, I'm very filial to my master. I miss him so much. I want him to come back as soon as possible. Come back here and teach us and guide us and help us become enlightened more quickly. That's not a proper Dharma. He does what he does because he's the one with wisdom. We don't have wisdom, remember that? Huh? Yes, sir. Number 5.
I'm very curious about this question. When you ever died, who would do the plaque for you? Or who does the 40 days for you?
Who would do the
41 days.
That's why I need another 20 years before I'm ready. Before I can find someone who's ready to do something for me when I die. Why do you think I'm still sticking around? Because I haven't found anyone who can do it yet. Now you mentioned it. Anyone else? After 15 years, still no one inside. What are you going to do? Yes, sir. 3.
Thank you, Master. So I'm just checking, because I'm kind of hard-headed and I don't always get these things. So this is not the 6th patriarch saying, you know, don't do this stuff. But it's like when your wife says, don't get me flowers or chocolates on Valentine's Day. This is, you know, are we like go right up to not indulging, but a little bit back? Like, is there like a...
And is there a question?
Because I found if I don't get my wife flowers on Valentine's Day, even if she tells me don't get them, you know, I probably should have done that. So I just want to make sure. This is actually, in fact, don't.
Have you heard the saying, no means yes?
I have now, Master. Thank you.
I don't know your mom ever talked to you about these matters. She should have told you. Son, you my son or not? What happened to Malcolm? So I don't know what Southern belles, Southern people, Southern mothers tell their children, but this is I would tell my own child if I were a woman. Okay, I say, son, yes, 3.
I'm glad you bring that up, Master, because that's actually, in the South, it's like when someone gets old, if Granddad wants to drink whiskey, Granddad can drink whiskey. If Granddad wants to watch football, Granddad can watch football, and so on and so forth. And it's very in line with celebrating someone's life versus being sorrowful about them passing. I mean, it's sad, but it's more of a they've earned it.
Yeah, that's why, in all fairness, most of the people who cycle into real reincarnation are from the South. We just lost the South. We will win in the West. We sacrifice the South to the Democrats. I mean, yes, anyone? Okay. You sometimes, when you deal with emotions, I don't know if your mother talked to you about this. It's perfectly okay to be emotional when it comes down to the stronger sex. It's okay to show our weakness. You know what I mean? I said, I know you don't need this, but I need it. I would love to show you how much I love you. Please don't punish me. Eli said, you're such an evil person. I didn't mean it. I was lying. You know that. Okay, anyone else? Yes, Ahung. One.
Master Malcolm is on the airplane to Korea today.
He's going to Korea?
Yes.
Oh, the poor Koreans.
At 10.
He's going to Korea, he's going to land and get cooped up for 14 days, okay, 2 weeks in a hotel, okay, and he has to pay $1,400 for the privilege.
He said he'll be back to work in November.
In November, so he'll be there for an entire month, okay. What a guy, okay. All right, good for him. Yes, 9.
Emily said Malcolm's stuck in San Francisco. He cannot get on the plane to go to Korea yet.
Yeah, the news travel very fast with the Xianchun. You want the latest news? Give her a ring. Everyone reports to Xianchun, XS. All right. Anyone else? Okay, very good. Can we move on? Excellent. 286. Simply recognize your own original mind and see your own original nature, which is neither moving nor still, neither produced nor extinguished, neither coming nor going, neither right nor wrong, neither dwelling nor departing.
但是自本心，见自本性，无动无静，无生无灭，无去无来，无是无非，无住无往。
Very good. Okay. Love the Taiwanese accent. I'm sorry. Okay. She gets upset when I criticize her, make comments about her accent. Okay, Taiwanese accent. Love it. Okay. However, I do have an objection to discord sound. It's not her. It sounds so cold. Don't you think? I mean, like from the sound of speakers here, it's like someone else who has no feelings, who has no emotions at all. Agree or disagree? It's not her at all. We need to file a complaint on Discord and say, hey, listen, you are turning us into robots. Okay, never mind. Okay, so the teacher says, what is a proper Dharma? Yes? the proper Dharma is. If for you, okay, as practitioners of my Dharma, okay, for you, my own disciples, my own children, who've been living off me, okay, all this time, you recognize your own original mind and see your original nature. This is what it means, is that this is who you really are, meaning who I really am. So far, so good. He says, it's not about me. My death is a lesson for you about you. It's not about me anymore. Don't commercialize this. Don't raise funds. Don't make a big deal out of my death. Okay? But look at it as an event for you to learn about the proper Dharma. Okay? If you look at yourself, your own nature, your own mind, you will see, just like you, okay, I'm neither moving nor still. Meaning what? I have no emotions. Is that clear? I don't have worldly emotions. Therefore, you should not either. Does it help? This is an opportune time for him to remind the children, his children, who are not enlightened yet. He says, let me tell you, boys and girls, I know you're emotional. Let me tell you, I'm not emotional. You're wrong to indulge in those emotions. Other monks and nuns from other places might look at you and say, look at these monks and nuns. They've been living off him all these years. He's like much more, he did a lot more than their own parents. And guess what? After this teacher died, they have no emotions. They have no regrets. They're not even attached to him at all. They are truly unfilial. This is what the other Chinese would criticize them, would point out to them. Okay? What kind of Sanghas are you? This great man here is even more important, your own mother, than your own father. And what did you do? He died and you have no emotions at all. What kind of persons are you? So that's why these people don't understand the proper Dharma. You understand? It's okay for them, but not for you. For you, you must understand the proper Dharma. The proper Dharma meaning that you look in your own mind, you can't see it yet, understandable, but when you can, okay, then you see that your mind, like mine, is neither moving nor still. No emotions, none whatsoever, neither produced or extinguished. Meaning what? I'm not dead. Nor I'm going to be born at all anywhere else. You see how Hinayana people do not take offense. He criticizes the Hinayana. He says, you should be born to the heavens. Heck! You don't need to be born. You cannot be born anywhere. You're not even dying. How can you be born? You got that? See, the Chinese are too polite. We don't have to be polite, do we? Yes, number one.
Master, is he saying that he's a Buddha?
No, he's not.
It's like he's not moving, he's not going.
No, he never says he's a Buddha. What kind of... Oh, God. Excuse me. Oh, Jesus. I mean, oh, Buddha. 3.
Thank you, Master. So when he arrives at the Pure Land, he's not being reborn?
No. You'll be reborn, but he won't be reborn. Okay? There's a difference. You and your wife will be reborn when you go to the Pure Land, but Master Hui Neng will not be reborn. Okay? Anyone else? Okay. Neither coming nor going. You and your wife will be going to the Pure Land. Master Hui Neng neither goes nor comes. He's not going to the heavens either. So far, so good? You see, this is the Mahayana teaching. What heavens? What Pure Land? Okay? Yes, 9.
Agu is asking, he was already there?
Who?
Agu.
Agu?
AGU.
ATU?
I think he's from Europe.
A2. 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 ATU. Okay, so what's the question again?
He was already there?
I don't know. I don't know if he's there or not, but all he's saying is that he's not coming or no going. The coming and going is for the people who have no wisdom. That's why they still see coming and going. Yes, 9.
He's from Spain.
From Spain.
Spain.
Okay. Spain. Okay. Okay. So what it means is that for you who don't understand these concepts is that at the lowest level, the bodhisattvas are already in the Pure Land, okay? And they can, at the same time, they can send a transformation body to this world of ours that manifests himself as, let's say, Venerable Hui Neng. Okay? So that's why you cannot say he's coming nor going. If he's coming, then you say, wait a minute, he's still in the Pure Land. Okay? So it doesn't matter what you look at, it's no coming and going at all. All right? At the higher level where the Buddha is, there's no coming and going absolutely. Okay? All right. Neither right or wrong. Okay? In this simple model ours, neither right or wrong. Don't worry about these people who complain and criticize you and say you are unfilial to your own master, your own benefactor, okay? Don't worry about that. Let them be. It's okay, whatever they say, okay? It's their world. Don't worry about it because, you know, what happened is these monks and nuns, okay, have to deal with the public opinion where these Asians used to think that if you have no emotions, you have no attachments to your master, therefore you are unfilial. Okay? And that's not the proper Dharma. to have such attachments. Yes? So much less to display such attachments is totally improper. All right? Neither dwelling or departing. Okay? Meaning that I am not leaving the Nanhua, this place here. Okay? So don't spread my ash so that because it's symbolic of by not leaving the city 10,000 Buddha. I mean the temple, or I'm going to come back and collect my ash. Okay. So far so good. All right. 288. Because I am afraid that your confused minds will misunderstand my intention, I will instruct you again so that you may see your nature.
但是自本心，见自本性。无动无静。sorry。恐如等心迷，不会无益，今在主如，令如见性。
A little bit better sound, okay? Fine tune a little bit more. It has more emotion, more warmth, instead of like a robot kind of sound. Beep beep. Okay, very good. Continuing. Okay, it's no combat, of course. This is so Chinese. Anyway, let me stick to the Chinese characters here so that I get inspiration from the teachings instead of being influenced by Master XuanHua's commentary. Okay. Because I'm afraid of your confused mind will misunderstand my intention. He says, I know you are misunderstanding me. That's a Chinese way to say, I know you don't understand me at all. Okay? So he says, he takes him along, Gong Ru Yung Ru Deng Xin Li. He says, I'm afraid that all of you, okay, your heart is confused. Okay? The Chinese is beautiful. The English, we only have confused minds. The Chinese has Xin Mi. Xin Mi here carries two images, two aspects of the confusion. Okay? One aspect is the mind is confused. The mind does not understand. You try to tell him that going to heaven is not a good place, for example, and he says, no, I don't care what you say. I insist on going to be near, my God. Sounds right? Yeah? Okay. So that is the nature of a confused thinking. Okay? The thinking is confused. So that's why he says, that's what the translation, your confused mind. Your mind is confused. You don't understand. Okay? Also, another part is that the Chinese has a sin. Sin is a mind here, so your heart is confused. Okay? So the nature of confusion is, as Andreas Fault says, both your understanding and your emotions, your feelings are getting the better of you. The nature of your confusion, okay, is from your emotions, from your feelings. See how consistent the message is? Do not engage in worldly emotions. Huh? Worldly emotions is not what we indulge in. Okay? Yes, number 6.
So when I start feeling, worldly emotion come up, what's a good thing to do? Should I just, should I just try to think about things that aren't gonna do with my worldly emotion, like contemplate the Buddha or something like that? If I feel like I'm getting sad or angry or something like that, you know what I mean?
Though I don't know what you mean.
If I start feeling a worldly emotion like anger or sadness or frustration, should I try to contemplate other worldly emotion like love for the Buddha, like we were talking about before, like emotions that aren't worldly?
I don't know. I don't know where to begin. You have so many worldly emotions. Let me work on that. Yes, 9.
Master, sometimes when I get emotional, it's hard to disguise it. It's just there. So I think he's asking, are we supposed to disguise it and turn it into something else and cover it up?
No, he didn't ask that.
No,
he's a lot more confused than that.
Oh.
Right? Go ahead. Defend yourself.
No, I wasn't asking that particularly. I was saying if I'm angry or sad or something, should I just switch my focus over to like the loving of the Buddha, something like that? Switch over my focus to something else that makes me feel that doesn't make me feel so worldly.
That's a good point. Should we do that? Should he do that in particular, Andres, or you? Not just you, but how about yourself? Should you switch to something more, may I say, lofty, more noble, more exalting? I'm running out of words here. Vocabulary is... See, Andres is exalting. Let me see, exalting. It sounds familiar. Huh? Okay. It's not that. It's two different things. That's why I still need time to massage all your worldly emotions. Okay? What's the problem with that? With his approach? This is what Alex would do too. Alex is this kind of question that Alex would ask as well. When I have these lowly, worldly emotions, shall I elevate myself and love the Buddha, worship the Buddha, and elevate my feelings to more sublime things, like loving God, loving Buddha? Anyone? Yes, Daniel.
It's my opinion that probably you're going to be lying more to yourself, and secondly, you're going to be more attached to the emotions.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. No, I don't think so.
What would you do?
What I have done is cross my legs and waited, for lack of a better explanation.
Hey, Koreans, what would you do? What would you do? And when I say Koreans, it includes everyone over there, whether Z or Master Z or Master E or their faithful followers, that's Koreans to me. Go ahead. What would you do?
아무것도 하지 않습니다.
Two,
Just do nothing.
just do nothing. Very good. Excellent. If your mind is confused with those thoughts, meaning those thoughts arise, you say, I miss my master so much. The thought arises, yes. I owe him so much. Such thoughts. I'm eternally in debt to him. You have such thoughts? Very good. She has no such thoughts. Ingrid. Okay? Those are the thoughts that will arise naturally. You don't have to do anything about them. Like my Korean disciple said, do nothing. That is Chan. There's nothing wrong with having emotions of attachment, emotions of gratitude, emotions of sadness. Yes? When your mother dies, you're going to shed tears, aren't you? Yes? That's natural. It's all these years of emotional attachment. Of course, when you lose someone like that, you're gonna feel it. Yes? So if you tear up, it's a natural thing. Don't say like Andre's fault. Say, no, this is not a proper reaction to this. I need to elevate myself to loftier planes, more noble planes, where I should be worshiping the Buddha. I should be reciting the Buddha's name. That's not what we Chan people do. If tears roll down our eyes, okay, what do? We FaceTime with our wives. I miss you. We want to show our wives that we have feelings. We do nothing. It's a natural thing. Yes, number 3.
What if I'm driving, I have road rage, I can't cross my legs, and my mind's really scattered because I have to focus on the road, and I'm just angry. One time, I was really angry on the road in traffic, and I asked the Buddhas, how do I deal with this? And I
What did Buddha tell you? Did he bother answering you?
Well, I just got.
Give him a chance. Did he answer you?
I think so, yeah, because I felt really good after. Because
I don't believe you.
It was. I got the intuition. I felt like you should just. Everything here is the Buddha. You should just see the road as the Buddha, because it's all, like we were talking about in the Avatamsaka, it's all Vairochana, it's all...
That's me, not the Buddha. You're quoting me.
Yeah, no, I said, I'm so upset right now, I'm so angry, my mind is so furious, and I'm in this traffic, and it's really bad. Really
Buddha,
angry.
what do I do? And what Buddha tell you?
I didn't necessarily ask the Buddha. I said, what do I do? And I called out to a higher power. I don't know if it was the Buddha, if it was Bodhisattva, or
could be God.
Could have been God. Could have been Jesus Christ. Could have been anything that answered me. But it just said see everything as the Buddha. And then all of a sudden I just saw it all flowing like a Buddha. And I just felt really good after that. About like 20 seconds after that, I was really relaxed and I felt really good.
This is why I refuse to answer all your emotions. Yes, sir.
I have a question for him. Do you crash at the end when not paying attention on the road? Or?
Oh, this guy has no... Yeah, that is low. That's a low shot. That's below the belt, my friend. We Buddhists don't do that. You don't want to storm on someone who's hurt already. Yes, sir. Answer him.
Why would I crash? I was in traffic. It wasn't even moving.
Very good. You see if I start, what a stupid question. Yes, 3.
But I was asking. So wouldn't that be? I'm trapped in worldly thinking. I'm in traffic and I'm really angry, and the only thing I can think about is the road. And then I call out to a higher, unworldly sort of thing. So elevate myself to a different plane. Wouldn't that be considered that? Versus if I do nothing, I've tried that before, and the anger just kind of stirs up in me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, this is a good question. It's an honest question. Okay, can we give him credit for that? It's an honest question. No, don't applaud. It's a wrong message. It's perfect. It's not okay to have such thoughts. Okay, so don't encourage him. Do not applaud, please. But we want to recognize his authenticity. Okay, it's very good. It shows how low of a life you really are. Sorry, just couldn't pass it up. Can I offer you, this is not for him. This interests me because it's not him. It's like this is happening so often nowadays. I'm sure Mary Jo's clients call her up and say, this is what happened to me. What do I do? Mary Jo says, well, I have an opening Tuesday, 3:30. Would that work for you? Okay? So you stuck in traffic and you have these crazy thoughts. Yes? Road rage. Someone cuts in front of you. That kind of thing. Okay? What do? It's not just for him. It's like so many people out there. Happened to me too. What do? Yes, Ginny, it's it's hitting close to home now.
Very close, Master.
Very close.
Yes. Whenever I guess Peter and I goes, run errands.
And who was driving?
Peter.
Yeah.
Peter is the driver, and he constantly honking at people. And I told him so many years, it's been more than, I guess, almost 5 years.
5 years.
Do not honk at them, because you don't know, they might have a gun in their compartment. Who knows? People are crazy. So I said, do not honk.
Honey, it's the wrong way to talk to him.
So I said, do nothing. I said, do nothing. I said, do...
No. You cannot provoke him like that. He said, they might have a gun, may have a whip or, something. He said, you think I'm afraid of them?
So
what kind of man you think I am? What kind of man you think you're married to?
So, Master, what do? I don't say anything?
I'm coming to that. I'm coming to that. The rest of you, please help us out. I'm one of those people too. I don't know about you. I have road rage too. Okay? I can't help myself. So this is very personal for me as well. Please help us out. What do Catholics do? Help save the world. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Catholic. This has come from the Catholic now.
What I do is I don't drive, so I just take public transportation. So.
What a cop-out. Anyone else who wants to help us out, please? He says, patience, patience, patience. Yeah, patience. Okay? Yeah, she has patience. No need. She says, no need. Yeah. Anyone else? I'm running out of time. That's why I'm rushing you a little bit. I'm sorry. I don't have time to waste it. Yes, 8.
Master, what you say is obviously the best choice, not to do anything.
I said nothing yet, man. It's the other one is honey, and you cannot call. I can't call you. I don't want to call you honey. It doesn't sound right.
No offense taken. Anyway, what I do is I take a deep breath before I even consider what that thought is. And in the event that is angry or impassioned, I just try to think of it on the outside of me, like I'm stepping away from me and I'm just looking at that anger right now, and ask yourself real quick, is that really you?
Thank you. Excellent. Make sure you come to my sutra classes. You can use your input. When this is what we offer to all of you out there who drive. Okay? You happen to drive and listen to me carefully, you frequently experience road rage. Yes? Frequently. You don't have that problem? You? Yeah, the short one. Yeah. Both of you are short. Huh? Do you have that or not? Yeah? Okay, now the truth is coming out. Derek, the one who refused to have funeral services. Huh? Okay? I repeat, if you frequently have experienced these road rages yourself, okay? All you have to do is this. What he just said. Tell yourself, this is not me. And it dies. I am not like this. And in the case of Riddler, this is not the man my wife fell in love with. Ding! Okay? This is not you. And if you do that, they don't come back. That's what I did. Never came back. Because one day I said, why is that? I get upset at these people who honk at me or cut in front of me. I said, this is not me. I said, and boom, never came back. You recognize them, that it's not you. Someone is pulling your strings, they don't bother you anymore. Who says our lectures doesn't benefit society? We save a lot of lives here. Yes, one.
Thank you, Master. I'm going to give that a try for sure.
Which one? This is not me, or this is not the one that my...
I mean, you're always in my head, so I'm sure I'll use that one too. But this one, this is not me seems to be the core of the issue.
Yeah, still have a lot to learn. What is friend Wei Yang? We lie to our teeth when necessary.
You're saying someone's pulling my strings, so who is that?
You'll find out. Okay, thank you everyone. Yeah.